Being raised in a Christian household is fairly common all the way across the globe. It doesn't matter where you're from, Christianity is probably there. But have you ever asked yourself, why has Christianity spread so far? Why is it everywhere? Why does everybody have a Christian neighbor or Christian relative? Why does everybody know the Bible? Why has everybody heard of Christianity? Well, the answer is it's Constantine. Now, at a later date, we're going to establish exactly how Constantine spread Christianity so far and so wide, but right now we're going to go into who is Constantine. Because if this is the man that's responsible for Christianity being across the entire planet, we need to look at his backstory. We need to look at who Constantine is and why did he do this. The how sometimes isn't as important as the why and the who. And I think you might find it fascinating that we have substantial evidence that Constantine corrupted the Christian Bible and added something into it. So give me a little bit of time and I'm going to break down exactly how he pulled this off. One of the first things we have to look at, one of the biggest pieces of evidence we have, is the Ark of Constantine. This is an ark carved out of stone that depicts this battle he went through. And supposedly in this battle, he had a vision of Christ. He saw Christ and a cross in the sky, and he commanded his soldiers to write crosses on their shields and to go win this battle. They were severely outnumbered. Constantine wasn't supposed to win this, but somehow he pulled it off, and he claims it was from the grace of God. But whenever we look at the Ark of Constantine and the story behind it, there is no Christian symbolism on the ark at all. There's nothing that shows crosses on any of their shields. There shows no depictions of Jesus. It shows no depictions of any Christian symbolism at all. In fact, there's actually a little bit of pagan symbolism in this. You would think he would slide something in, seeing the fact that the ark is 6 stories tall. Now, what's also fascinating about the Ark of Constantine, it is just 91 meters away from the Colosseum that he used to slaughter Christians in. And recently, within the past 10 years, there was a researcher named Simca. Simca got a boom lift and permission to go to the Ark of Constantine, where they hoisted him into the air and got him face to face with the ark itself. He analyzed the entire thing and couldn't find any Christian symbolism whatsoever. Now, at this time, Rome was somewhat conflicted, half of the military being pagan, the other half of the military being Christian. Although maybe the faiths aren't that much different from each other, they were still divided at that time, and Constantine needed to unite the Roman Empire so he can get more control, more power over the area, and can continue to conquer other lands. But as you further look into this Mithraism and all the rituals surrounding it, you start to see a correlation between Christianity and Mithraism. Now, Mithras is supposedly the sun god. He is a false god entirely, but that's what they looked at him as. Similar to where others had looked at Apollo. Apollo may be depicted as another false sun god. And what's really crazy and really weird about this situation is under some of the first Christian churches ever, there are temples to Mithras and to Apollo. Even the town that Constantine took over, Constantinople, I believe is the correct word for it. This town he created, it may be in Turkey, I'll double check, I'll put some up for you guys. In the center of this town was a statue and a pillar for Apollo. Now, Constantine was a very brilliant man, so let's not take that away from him. We need to understand that Constantine was very smart and very political and good at what he does. And one of the things he put into place was he was the first Roman Empire to legalize Christianity. But that's what they say, right? They claim Constantine legalized Christianity, but what he did, in fact, is actually applied freedom of religion to all. It wasn't just Christianity. He allowed all religions into Rome. Now, when I first discovered these things, it was pure accidental. I was more curious about Constantine himself and had no idea all the things he'd done in his life. There was a movie probably in the early 2000s, I'll put a screenshot of it, named Constantine, where he fought demons. I saw that movie as a child, and as I got older and more into religion, I wanted to go back and rewatch the movie. After rewatching the movie, I was curious on who Constantine really was. Like, is he some kind of demon slayer cool guy, some gray area dude? It turns out he walked the fine line, he walked the gray area, but he was a little bit more dark than we thought. Now, Mithraism is so deeply embedded in Christianity that under the Santa Prisca Church in Rome, there is a temple to Mithras, an actual temple and shrine to Mithras still underneath the church. I'll pull up some screenshots of it for you. When they were doing some more research on the church, they pulled up the floors and discovered one of the largest temples to Mithras ever discovered. But you may be surprised, Constantine wasn't alone in this. The Temple of Mithras was kind of like a cult. It was like the original Illuminati. And in fact, almost almost all, or as all as we've discovered, Roman Empire officer class, they all worshipped at these temples. There was a lady named Jennifer Duquesne that just passed away recently in England, and she was the owner of this fort. There was a fort for the Roman Empire in her backyard. She was taking her French bulldog, or her father's French bulldog, out, and they discovered one of the temples for Mithras right next to the fort. In fact, it was so close, they thought it was included in the fort until they dug everything up, and then they found the temples and the shrines to Mithras. So by no way was Constantine alone in this situation. It wasn't just him. This was a secret society, almost a Scientology of the Roman Empire's time. Now that we've gone over the fact that Constantine was a worshiper of a false god and he followed Mithras to the end, we need to look at some of the things he actually slid into the Bible. See, to unite the Roman Empire, this is what he had to do. He had to put his cult into the Christian Bible. That way, his people, his leadership, the officer class of the Romans would be comfortable merging with the Christians. And what they did is they fooled and misled the Christians into following their cult. One of the biggest things that stood out to me was December 25th, where people claim it's Jesus' birthday. They celebrate Christmas on this day. Well, before Christ even was around, there was people celebrating December 25th, and they were celebrating Mithras, the sun god's birthday. Now, I find that quite weird, the fact that he was able to change it to that degree. And what you have to remember is not everybody could read at that time. Not everybody could read the Bible. So they had to go off of word of mouth at that time. Not everybody could read, so he had to just listen to what the pastor's saying. And after a couple of generations, it's pretty easy to do, especially to individuals who are not intelligent enough to understand their own faith or educated enough about their own belief system. They're not going to remember something as small as a date. But what's not a coincidence is the bread and the wine. Yes, that is true. Communion is not a Christian thing. Communion was a Mithraism practice for years. They would often share the bread and the wine during communion at these underground temples. Now, I find this whole situation absolutely absurd, but it's kind of sad to find out. Because in my past, it was fun to beef with Christians and get into arguments on the internet, but I'm past that point. Chapter 5, verse 82 of the Quran. That is because among them are priests and monks, and because they are not arrogant. The Christians are our comrades. They are our brothers or our cousins. And I understand you guys don't like when I say that, but it is true. The final days, the Christians and the Muslims will stand together. As Muslims, we are truly blessed to have the Quran, and we need to look at the Christians as somebody who can work alongside with us. Maybe some are our enemies, but not all. I believe it's one of our duties to bring them facts and bring them information like this so they can see the truth. They may deny the truth, and that's their choice, but at the end of the day, you can't lie to yourself. So the information you present to them, present it to them in an honorable way. Don't be rude in attacking them, but present them the facts. And at the end of the day, you can't lie to yourself. That voice, they will always hear it. They will always know the truth. And maybe one day they'll come around.